You will find in the administration menu 2 items allowing you to manage the balances and the allocations made to the employees. First, you can use the Manage Allocations item to manage allocations for each employee, for each type of balance that exists in your system. To issue a new allocation to an employee, you need to add an event, specify when the event occurs, and then specify the number of hours allocated. These will be added to the balance. The allocation end date is optional. If there is no end date, it means that the hours will never be lost. If there is one, the unused hours will be removed from the balance after this date. Some balances, such as banked overtime, do not have allocations, but only balance adjustment events. These can be positive or negative. For example, if we pay some banked hours, we could make a negative adjustment, like this. If you want to reset the balance to 0, do not make an adjustment of 0. Use the forced balance value type of event instead. As its name suggests, this has the effect of forcing the balance. Regardless of the sequence of preceding events, on that date the balance will be reset to 0. We therefore do not really know the variation in the balance caused by this event, unless we consult the evolution of the balance to see what the effect is. In order to consult the balances, you must go to the Time Off Requests menu and select the Balances item. Here we can see, on a given date, all balances for all users. In order to obtain more details, we can click on the magnifying glass to see the evolution of the different balances for an employee, such as the events that we have just created for this user. We see here the new vacation allocation, the effect of the adjustment for the paid hours, and the forced balance value, which resets the value to 0, and this, independently of what happened previously. We also see the removal of sick leave hours, on the date we indicated the end of the allocation. The balance is back to 0. Another allocation could be made and come into effect at the same time. This is how we can see the evolution of balances. Now let's move on to the batch allocations. This is a slightly more efficient way to make allocations, since you don't have to specify the effective date for each user. This can be useful at the beginning of the year, or when everyone receives new allocations at the same time. We must first specify the type of balance for which we want to make an allocation, as well as the date on which we want to do it. This could be in preparation for the next year. Again, the end date is not mandatory. We can also enter a comment or a description. In the next step, we get the list of all employees, with the same dates for everyone. If we want to enter the same value for everyone, we can use the default value option, and then handle the exceptions, like this. Once everything is properly configured, all you have to do is click on Add these allocations. It is also possible to perform batch allocation using a file. However, note that using a file will only be useful if you have already built a file containing the correct values. If you need to build the file, there is no benefit to using it. You could simply use the interface as we have just done, and enter the values directly in FDT Pro. If you want to use a file, first enter the type of balance, the effective date, and the description. Then use the button located here to generate a template. This will provide you with a file containing the names of the users, properly written, because it is important that the names correspond perfectly to the names in FDT Pro. If you have the values elsewhere, you could copy and paste them into this file. If not, type the information into the file and save it. You can import the file with the button located here. In the next step, the values will simply be initialized using the contents of the file. You can then make adjustments as needed, and finally, add the allocations.